this year, when we beat Good Counsel, I was just like, we got a shot. Then the first time we beat Coolidge, I was just like, oh yeah, we good.
Great me watching y'all play. Y'all beat Dunbar, and then now 4 years after that, or 5 years after that, I'm a senior at Gonzaga. Playing a junior, and we played Dunbar in the city title. And
they don't got no IQ or no mental toughness to kind of fight through anything. You know what I mean? So each area that they think, it'll probably swing by.
Talk and coach hard, but you just got to know how to do it and who to do it to. Because nowadays, y'all seeing basketball, you might yell and you might, coach hard.
They shut down.
They gonna shut down, or they in that transfer portal, or you might get a phone call from a parent like, oh my God, bro, you got to say something. The game is going on, so I be like, hey man, run, da 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 da. I'm a confident man. I feel like I'm handsome, so I just start saying, Coach Bay in my.
So you think like somebody had this in order from the beginning?
Make the style go a certain way, but then how I just, at the end of the day, people still got their own coaching styles, right?
Welcome to Game Related, where we highlight opportunities and obstacles from former athletes with the thought process of giving future generations a better understanding about the game.
These conversations are meant to bring awareness to the opportunity and the hardship that come along with the game. Let's get game related. All right, y'all, we come on another episode of Game Related. This is a special one. Personally, I always love when we have people from the city come and be a guest on the show. We always love to give a spotlight that people that's doing exceptional things in our city. Our guest that we have today, he's definitely a leader amongst men, definitely been an influential in the youth in our community. He's a champion as a player and a champion as a coach. So when we have this conversation today, it's going to be from a winner's perspective. We want to thank the guests for coming through. We want to say congratulations to Cardoza for winning that championship, DCIAA. And we want to welcome Coach Bryant Smut Hunt.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate you coming through.
Boy, that was a mean intro, shit. Hey, that was a mean drum roll right there. Yes.
That's how we got to do the home team. All right, so man, we're going to jump right into it. This championship. Talk about this championship. Talk about the journey. Talk about the ups and downs. Like how y'all feel when y'all was able to go and cut the nets down, because not that they was doubting y'all, but
they was.
We was hearing a lot about Coolidge and Jackson Reed, you know what I'm saying, Roosevelt. So man, talk about it.
So just one of my favorite quotes that I go by is no struggle, no success. So, it's been a 4-year journey with Cardoza. My first couple of years, it was a struggle. 1 year we went like 4-16 or something like that. We couldn't buy a win. And a lot of us coaches, we started to just look at different players, look at different coaching strategies, and we just started grinding. And we put different players together. The recruitment was outstanding, and we fundamentally, put all the puzzles together, the pieces together to the puzzle, and we champions now. And nobody can take that away from us. They was hating on us all season, just like you said. It was a bunch of, Coolidge, Roosevelt, Jackson Reed, but we was in the spotlight. They was talking about us a little bit. But, Coach T just had a 2-year run with winning. He hasn't lost in DCIAA in 2 years. So they just automatically thought he was winning. He was going to win it again. So we just took that to heart. Our theme of this year was revenge tour, because they beat us, last year. They were smiling, throwing water, celebrating. So we watched that, and we was just like, man, we owe them. So we beat them, and we champions now.
Okay.
Bring the trophy back to Clifton Street.
So was there like a time period within the season when, from the coach's perspective, when you was like, we here, we got it now, and I know we gonna push through, or was it just like how was that?
So when I knew that we had a bunch of guys that could really, gel together and we can fundamentally play and we mentally ready, I mean mentally tough when we played up the math and we played good counsel.
Mm-hmm.
When we beat that type of caliber type of team, I said, man, we got a special group because the year before last, we was playing, top teams, but we couldn't get over that hump. This year, when we beat good counsel, I was just like, we got a shot. Then the first time we beat Coolidge, I was just like, oh yeah, we good.
Okay.
When y'all played Glenelg up at St. John's, right? That was like my first time really putting eyes on y'all, right? And I was like, man, y'all are really balanced.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And like they got like 4 or 5 guys that get double figures. You know what I mean? And so once I seen that, I was like, damn, like y'all really got a chance because you can't necessarily key in on one person.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the year before, like last year, we was really, really guard heavy. We didn't have any big man presence. So in DCIAA, everybody's guard heavy. But if you got a big man presence, that puts you over the hump. Jackson Reed had a couple of bigs, and they had JJ. That's why they won it last year. But this year, when we added a Darius Seward and a Flynn Rhinestone, those guys complemented the whole team a whole lot. So we had an inside presence, and we got the twins as far as like the backcourt. So we was unstoppable. Then we got a couple of guys coming off the bench, which gives us it just puts us above the rest. That was just a tremendous good job on recruitment and things of that nature.
Okay. So definitely for winning the championship, and now you're not used to. You're used to the success, but a lot of times people don't know how to handle success. So, like, what's some advice that you want to give, and probably gonna have to talk to your players about, because since they won this championship, know how to handle that success, and to come back next year, and so y'all could try to do the same thing.
It's the cliche answer, man. Just celebrate your success, but also be humble because everything you got can always be taken away from you. We got a lot of guys that's social media happy and talk real bad about certain people, but just be humble and just take it with a grain of salt.
Okay, that's what I meant to ask you too. So with Smut, where did the name Smut come from, man? That's just a family name, or how it come about?
So this my second time ever addressing that. Like a lot of people think Smut is like my real name, right? So it really isn't. It's nothing derogatory. It's nothing nasty. It's nothing like that. For all my old heads, Stan, you probably can relate a little bit. But there's a cartoon character. It's a cartoon called Yogi Bear, and there's a dog on there named Smutly, and the dog laughs funny. He laughs like. So when I went to Easton for 3 years, and this guy named Leroy, we call him Singleport. I was playing varsity my 9th grade year, and we had a big Mike McHale. We call him Bunions. He was on the team. So them guys being singers, I just always was silly and used to laugh at all their jokes. So one time, this Leroy Singleport, he was just like, man, he laughed like that dog named Smutly. And I was just like, I don't know who that is. So I Googled him, and that name literally, Joe, that name stuck from the 9th grade to I'm 43 now. Like I came the next day, everybody in the school was calling me Smutly, and then they shortened it up to say Smut, to the point teachers was calling me principals. Even when I went to college, they was like, what's your name? I just was like Smut. And from there, everybody in the city, everywhere I go, call me Smut. and that's the story.
Yeah,
Bryant Smut.
okay.
People don't even really know my real name is Bryant. Everybody call me Smut.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
because I ain't never know, my man Dave Edmonds, we grew up together. He was like, yeah, Smut. And I was like,
Smut is an interesting name, right?
It's nasty, it's dirty, it's real bad.
I'm like, damn, how he get that joint?
So you talk about, you said you went to Easton. All right, so let's kind of dive back a little bit in them playing days, and I know that you was with that legendary Dunbar team that won that city title, and you beat Gonzaga. And that's funny because we Gonzaga love.
And we beat Dunbar.
Yeah, that's crazy because you gotta think. So that was 8th grade for me, right? So that's 8th grade, me watching y'all play. Y'all beat Dunbar, and then now 4 years after that, or 5 years after that, I'm a senior at Gonzaga, Stan's a junior, and we play Dunbar in the city title, and we get y'all. But talk about that time, man. Like how it was with that team winning. But like you said, you was at Easton first, playing and that whole journey.
So this how it happened, and a lot of people don't know this. So it was me, Bernard Robinson, a guy named Sherrod Clark. We were all at Easton, right? And all of the big names like Mike McHale, he graduated, so it was our time next. But we really wasn't feeling the coach. The coach we wasn't understanding him. He wasn't understanding us. So the first person to leave was Bernard Robinson. He was like, man, I'm out of here, man. I'm going to Dunbar, going over there with Brian Chase and the guys over there. So me and Sherrod Clark, we left at Easton. Couple weeks later, Sherrod transferred. And I'm like, oh no, y'all definitely not about to leave me here by myself. So you got Bernard Robinson, you got Brian Chase at Dunbar, you got Troyce Hainsworth. He was at Curl, but he ended up transferring to Dunbar, and me and Troyce from the same neighborhood. He from 14th Street, Clifton Terrace too. And I talked to him. He was like, yes, Slim, I'm going over to Dunbar. So I'm like, what is going on? So I was like, man, I'm gone too. So I end up transferring my senior year, because all of us left our senior year. My mom was like, boy, you are not transferring your senior year. I was like, Mom, I am not staying at Easton. There's no way. All my guys, we got a good team. I got to go. So I end up transferring, and we was amazing, man. We was amazing. That team really, really gelled together. We was, just like you said, man, we beat the big old Gonzaga. And the crazy thing about, playing in that era, we really wasn't even looking forward to Gonzaga, because we had the Roger Masons that year. We had the Joe Forte and Keith Bogans. We literally was preparing for Joe Forte and Keith Bogans, the DeMatha team. And when Roger Mason and them knocked them out, I think that's how that happened. And then they played Gonzaga, and Gonzaga beat them. We was like, Gonzaga? Who was that? Because they ain't really had no big names for real. Yeah. I think they had the big guy, I forget his name, big what, Pat McCloskey. Yeah, they had him. He was a beast. But and a funny story within this story is, it was called the MCI Center. So we playing and we beat them. And we going crazy, jumping up. In the middle of the scoreboard, it said Gonzaga 1999 city champs, because they never predicted us to win. Wow. They had already had that going.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
But wow. Yeah, we beat y'all. We beat y'all.
I watched that game too. I remember that.
That was a heck of a game.
Yeah, that was a good game. That was a good game. I watched that one too. So talk about how the basketball community was growing up. Like, I know for me playing, we grew up in a Boys and Girls Club, playing the number 2, all the talent down there, where you kind of earn and get your stripes. Like, how was it uptown, number 14? I know it's definitely a slew of good basketball players, great basketball players from coming up there. And we was hearing about, some battles when you and E, and I'm pretty sure with some definitely battles with everybody up there. Like, how was that era around that time?
That it was tough, man. I'm not gonna lie, it was tough. And what we used to do is, my whole neighborhood, just to name a few, Cash, Eric Branham, Sheet Pearson, Ricky Branham, Muhammad Hill. All we used to just go and run and shoot. And going up, run and shoot, and playing was the equivalent to how kids are training now.
Yeah.
We used to go and run and shoot to get our stripes. And that was a 24-hour situation. And like if you lose, you might as well go on another court or go home because you're never getting back on. But that era of playing basketball was tough. And then from my neighborhood, what we used to do is we used to go down Harrison Elementary School and play outside. And it was kind of like jail ball. So that's how I really started being able to be tough and go hard. And all of us uptown guys, we just went down there and played. But that era of basketball is tough compared to the era right now. I think the kids are a little soft now, if you ask me. But you couldn't be soft coming up, when I came up.
Yeah. I wonder, like, is it ever gonna get back to that? I mean,
so it's funny you say that. I was going back and forth with Jasper the other day, right? And I said, kids now got the most skill and confidence, right? They like, I feel like because we didn't have confidence because we was just doing what we was told back in the day, like these kids have got that, what was it, Russell Westbrook, like why me, why not me, or whatever, right? Everybody got that mindset, right? So everybody think that they can be the guy, you know what I mean? But they don't got no IQ or no mental toughness to kind of fight through anything. You know what I mean? So each era got they thing. It'll probably swing back around, just like the big man too.
yeah, like it really. I mean, it's seen a lot now, but it is weird to drive past on my side, go past white and colors, and it's nobody outside. I remember coming from Gonzaga, got my backpack, I got my uniform on, I'm coming past, and it's flooded up there.
Yeah.
Everybody playing. I'm literally like throwing my book bag in a corner, like I'm about to play in these khakis. I got my tennis shoes on.
Yeah,
Who got next? I'm trying to get on the court. You know what I'm saying? To really see, it's nobody outside. Like ever. It's like, would it ever really get back to youngins being outside really playing? Because that's where you really get that confidence from. You know what I'm saying? Because if I can play out here, and like you said, if it's that jail ball type of play, then when I go and I'm playing regulation, or I'm getting fouled, or I could go through that, and this is going to be an and one. This is nothing, because when we leave from the court, things ripped, you bleeding, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you really battling. So, I don't know, man. It would really be good to see if it really could get back to that.
Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna get back to that. I don't know. I think that era came and passed, and it ain't coming back. I mean, just when the peak of the sun coming out, we was outside. I remember, back in the day, Banneker used to be flooded with hoopers. You'll have a Greg Jones and his crew and our crew. We'd come up there and we'd bump. Harrison was always a good time to go outside and play. Going up to Coma Park, Maple Ave with Steve Francis and them and all of them, going up there and play. Outside was it. Yeah. The sun came out, and back then, you had your pants. I mean, you had your shorts underneath your pants, so you ready to rock and roll. Oh, y'all hooping? Oh man, let me take some shorts off. I'm ready to go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. All right, man. So we got a fun question for you, man. 12 seconds left, right? Smut, I need a bucket. What's your go-to move?
My go-to move, I'm going right to left, hazy,
okay,
get past, float in the paint.
Okay.
Let me say that again. I'm going right to left, hazy, get to the paint, float.
So you gonna shoot it with your right hand or your left hand?
On my right hand.
Okay. I think I seen you do that to your son on
Killed him. destroyed him. I don't hold no punches against my kids. If y'all ever watch this, y'all can't beat me. None of y'all. Y'all will never beat me. I'll never let y'all beat me.
So man, I want to talk about this time in JUCO with you and E. Tell me about the game. I know E talked some trash, and you definitely talked some trash. So, like, tell me about that game, and did anybody leave with some scratches? Did y'all not talk to each other for a while after that?
So that game. I was going to Tacoma Park. E was going to Hagerstown, and we from the same neighborhood, so obviously that was the talk. Man, E and Smut about to play each other. Everybody go up there. So I was focused because I look at E as my big bro. So
Yeah.
I was just like, I know what he can do. And I don't know if I gained his respect and he knew what I could do, but it really wasn't no talk prior to the game. Cause keep it real, I ain't never told you this, E, but I was nervous as I don't know what. That's different. Us playing and run and shoot like nobody cares, but like we on a spotlight, like all the bright lights is shining right now. So I can't lay an egg. So I mean, we go into the game, and I think he had fractured his wrist, so he had a wrist injury. I ain't gonna lie, I ain't catch fire. I caught fire. I couldn't miss. I could not miss. I'm talking about everything I threw up went in.
NBA Jam.
Man, I was threes going inside, posting up. I was doing more. I felt like I had the last Dragon Glow. I couldn't I like this. I mean, it was. I had an amazing game. Not to take anything from E, he had his wrist fractured, but he still had like 12 points and 9 assists. They end up beating us by like 19 or 20, but I had 40 that game.
Ooh.
I had 40, and he know I had 40. I don't know if he caught some of them buckets, but that team caught 40, and that was a good, memorable game. And y'all know how I talk trash, boy. I could not wait to get back around the way. Everybody was like, yeah, Smut killed. But he was just like, y'all lost. So I was like, I don't care. I had 40. I paid y'all 40. Hey. So, I mean, that's always a running joke between me and him. But shout out to E, man. I learned a lot from him. He's my big bro, and he was a heck of a player back in his time. For sure.
Yeah, nah, E, man, he worked with us a lot when we was like our junior, senior year and going into college.
Yeah.
And I know for me, he really helped me with my footwork. And then once I got my footwork together, it was kind of almost like, you know how you say, man, good offense beat better defense?
Yeah.
It was like that. It was like, I felt like I missed because of me, not because of the defender. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, yeah. So, man, let's get back into coaching real quick, man. What should people expect from Coach Smut as a coach?
Man, just relatable, man. At this time and age with this generation of kids, you gotta relate to these kids. You gotta be dad, you gotta be uncle, you gotta be McDonald's, you gotta be Uber, you gotta wear a lot of hats with dealing with kids nowadays. And not so much rah coaching, yelling and da because I think that era has passed. You know what I mean? And what happens is these type of kids that we dealing with now, you raise your voice and it's nothing, but you can talk and coach hard, but you just got to know how to do it and who to do it to. Because nowadays, y'all seeing basketball, you might yell and you might, coach hard.
They shut down.
They gonna shut down, or they in that transfer portal. Or you might get a phone call from a parent like, oh my God, why are you talking to my kid like that? And it's really no harm in it. You just trying to make a kid better. So for me, man, it's always about building relationships with kids. I can talk to them, I can joke with them, I can relate to them, and nowadays, if these kids don't have your trust, they'll never listen to you. They'll never do anything that you say. They gotta trust you in order to listen to you.
No, that's a great point. No,
Yeah.
I feel that. I feel that. Let me ask you this. So, as an assistant coach, right? I feel like at times assistant coaches have a lot of hats that probably get underappreciated. You know what I mean? Like speak on what do you feel assistant coach is undervalued at?
Man, we undervalue and the whole, and I'm glad I'm getting this platform as an assistant coach because I get to talk about it, and I ain't scared to talk about it. I say what y'all think anyway. But assistant coaches, man, we go through a lot, man. Especially being an assistant coach in the school, we prepping for practices. Sometimes we're not able to go to the games because we got to go to other games and scout teams that we, potentially playing. It's a lot of practice times. We do a lot of preparation for practicing, uniforms, getting kids here and from. And we doing all of this sometimes while that head coach is sitting back, getting all the accolades, which is fine at times, but I just think a lot of assistant coaches need to get more publicity and shout us out sometimes, man. They don't. A lot of head coaches don't do that. I know another good assistant coach is Rob Monroe over at Coolidge. Real good dude, man. He kind of stay quiet, but I know he do a lot of things behind the scenes, and just a lot of assistant coaches don't really get that publicity at times.
Hmm. Okay.
Okay, so what you would say as being in that assistant role, what were some of the things like most important that you learned throughout that tenure?
Uh, be quiet sometimes. just be quiet because a lot of people don't know this either. I was a head coach for about 15 years, so being at Cardoza and being an assistant coach was new to me. Sometimes I would overstep my boundaries and say, "Man, that ain't what we da 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 da." But sometimes I gotta say, you know what? Let me fall back a little bit and allow him to be the head coach and just humble myself. So what I've learned is just to be quiet sometimes.
Yeah, that one voice is too many cooks in the kitchen,
Yep.
and one voice is definitely important. I actually had an issue with that during AAU, and we kind of talked off camera about it. But like the head coach was kind of like getting real tight during the game, and it was like 2 minutes left. We up two, right? And I just jump up, run, da 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 da. And he was cool with it. But then after the game, he went and complained to everybody else about it. But like during the game, it was no issue. It was like he was cool with me doing it. But I had to learn the hard way that like, maybe I should have whispered. That sounds bad, whispered in his ear, but I should have came up to him and been like, "Hey man, run such and such." You know what I mean? There's a lot of cadence with that. Like we had Chris Cole on the show, and he was just talking about like his job was to serve, not necessarily to be the head coach, and that is a humbling experience.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
It was plenty of situations with me and the head coach over Cardozo. We butted heads. And it was plenty of times, like the example that you gave, where it's things going on because basketball is like this.
Yeah.
You can't do a play in like football, huddle up and think about the next thing that you're gonna do. Basketball is a consistent sport. So, there was situations where things is going on, and as the assistant coach, we see what you don't see. And at times he would, kind of nut up and be like, and I'm like, bro, you got to say something. The game is going on. So I'd be like, hey man, run, da 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 da. Sometimes we butted heads on that, but sometimes it worked, just like you said.
Yeah.
But that's just the leader in me. That's the head coach in me.
Uh-huh.
So going back to putting on that head coach hat, right? What would you say you think what kids need today? Like what skill sets they would need today to succeed at the next level? Because, you know, I think when Rick Pitino that went like viral and went crazy when he said that he wasn't recruiting the high school kids, right? And I don't think he wasn't saying he wasn't recruiting them at all. It's just at that point for his team, he wasn't recruiting them. But that portal,
he ain't recruiting them at all, bro.
yeah. So if they ain't doing that, like it's gonna be tough for these kids. So it's like, yo, like y'all really need to get on your grind and get your fundamentals or get whatever skill set that you need because it's so much more competition now.
Yeah.
So like what things that you think that these student athletes would need so they could kind of make it to the next level?
First and foremost, just being a student athlete, get your grades and all of that stuff in order. And then for me, what I'm seeing is like when you compare a high school body to even a JUCO or Division 3 body, those guys are big. My first thing, I'd be like, man, get a great trainer, get on a good eating regimen, and get in the weight room. You got to get in the weight room and actually do the right things for your body. Everybody's a trainer. It's a million trainers. You train against a cone. It's a lot of that. You just got to get someone that you really, really trust and that you can get behind and really just like train you and train your body. I think training your body is most important in my opinion. Getting you ready for that next level.
Okay.
Speaking of the transfer portal, I think one of the other things the kids got to do a better job of is the expectations. You know what I mean? I think realistically, where they think they are player wise versus where they actually are, or what the market is telling them, is completely different. Like you say, Patino's not recruiting freshmen anymore. I mean, high school guys, and these are. I mean, he would pick between like the top 100, right? So like those guys need to be like, man, you know what? I might need to take a step lower, or be like, if I do go there, just know, man, I probably ain't gonna play right away. You know what I mean? And that's a hard pill to swallow. You know, because I seen the transfer portal's open right now. You seeing a lot of guys. It's documented that the top 100 guys, like they are literally playing 10 minutes a game on average. Anybody in that ESPN 100, they playing 10 minutes a game as a freshman in college, and then they leaving. You know what I mean? Like that's the reality of it. So do you sit there and go stay there the next year, or do you go like instead of picking a UConn or a Power Five, maybe you go mid major instead of going high major and then work your way up? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's just a hard conversation because you just don't know why they making those type of decisions. I think NIL deals may come into play, making them have those decisions. But I don't know. That stuff will come. And if you go lower than those high division 1 schools, if you doing your thing, they gonna find you. If you doing your thing, they gonna find you. You don't have to go, high major. They gonna find you if you doing your thing.
So I definitely agree with that. But I would love as the student athlete, man, perfect your craft, man.
Yeah.
Get nice, man. Because at the end of the day, you still going. I know people in that transfer portal, but I'm nice, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, the coach gonna be like, nah, I'm going to get him. I know, Shorty, he gonna be on this team. I'm still gonna go get my man from that portal. Nah, Shorty coming over here because I'm just, I'm exceptional. I'm doing my thing. You know what I'm saying? I'm in my bag, which y'all like to say. You know what I'm saying? To that point where it's undeniable.
It's a lot
to them to really put that work in, man. Because at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. You gotta put your work in. They ain't even recruiting y'all like that no more.
For real.
And you a top 100. You ain't even put your work in, son. Go get it. And this is you gotta go get it now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Ain't no playing around. You gotta go get it. So you really gotta separate yourself from the pack. Like, nah, ain't no debating right now.
I don't know.
I'm killing all y'all. You gotta pick me up. That's what it is.
I mean, I feel that, but I don't. It's some dudes that's undeniable right now that just don't get no playing time. I mean, look at the kid, Darren Harris from Duke. Like he was at PVI last year. Undeniable.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Undeniable.
There you go.
see him.
Undeniable. Virginia Player of the Year. Virginia Gatorade Player of the Year. Undeniable. No playing time at Duke. None.
But
I remember
who do he play over though?
Huh? Should he start? Maybe not. But should he be playing?
I don't know, Stan.
Listen.
You got the mob, bro.
Duke got a mob.
Shot. But I ain't, I don't know. Because I ain't really get to really sit and really watch him. I ain't really see him kind of in his bag going
He
off.
don't need to be in his bag, Joe. All he need to do is catch and shoot.
But I feel like because the state of what it's in, you gotta be able to do everything. You can't just be that shooter no more.
Absolutely.
Because that's not cutting no more.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? You gotta be able to be that 3-level scorer. I'm under now. Yeah, you
Yeah,
gotta put me on
3-level
the floor.
scorer, though.
I'm too much of a threat. You gotta put me on the floor. You know
How
what
tall
I'm
is
saying?
he? How tall is he?
I was 6'4".
Yeah.
But like, there's more players than that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like there's not just name like it just like you might just need to pick a different school. That's all I'm saying. Instead of going Power 5. Yeah, like you could have probably went to Maryland and
they
played.
for sure could have used him.
That's what I'm saying. You know, like you gotta be realistic about what you're thinking about, man. So man, let's get into I know you mentioned training culture a little bit, man. How do you think social media is impacting these kids? Not just the kids, but also the parents.
Man, in a negative way, man. Sometimes just in a negative way because it's just so much on social media, man. It's like I seen one trainer, man. This dude took 1,000,000 steps and he just like, is this a travel or no? And so when you do things like that and it's not fundamentally sound, you got all these followers, you got all these high school kids, you got all these parents looking at that and
really believing in
and
that.
really believing that. Like you're not doing that in the game, bro.
Yeah.
You're not doing that. So do things. I always say in practice, I'm like, do game speed. Do things game speed. Do things that you're gonna do in the game. Let's do it in practice. But when those guys get on social media and do all that funny, tricky, crazy stuff, it's just like he got 10 million followers. So, you know, they gonna look at that instead of looking at or listening to a Smut. Like, Smut, you got 1,000 followers.
Right.
This dude is worldwide.
Right.
So that training stuff, it helps sometimes, but it also hurts, man.
Yeah. That validation is interesting, right? Because having followers means that you're right.
That you
right. It's more popularity over substance, you know, and that's something that I see a lot of times, and I'm just like, one of the funniest things right now that we got the podcast and we starting to get followers, right? Like some of my youngsters is like, oh damn, Stan, I know you knew this person, and I'm like, why, right? They straight up told me, like, well, you ain't got that many followers. Like your personal page got like 600 followers, Joe. And I was like, nah, like that's by design. You know what I'm saying? I don't really like to be seen for real.
Yeah.
So me doing this podcast is just something I'm learning how to do. But just don't think my arm's not long just because you just see something on social media. You know what I'm saying? It's completely different. And they put so much justification in somebody that got a lot of followers versus somebody that actually know what's going on. You know what I mean? Like Greg Jones probably don't have a lot of followers, right? But you couldn't tell me that he couldn't teach you how to handle the ball.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like
for sure.
But that's another. I got a question for you, dog.
Right.
Where did you get Coach Bay from? Like, why do you call yourself Coach Bay? Hey, listen, you be on social media, you know, you done pulled up on Pava schools, like you be trolling, like you be having fun on that thing.
So And you just said it, man. Man, if anybody knows Smut, man, I am a jokester. I just like to have fun. And honestly, and I'm gonna toot my own horn, man. If I didn't do that trolling, pulling up the schools, DCIAA was born. To be honest, until I started doing that.
Yeah.
And it was no disrespect to any school. Shout out to Coolest, shout out to Dunbar, all of that. It was all fun and games. And what I was doing, it was a method to my madness. I was putting butts in seats, you know, and I was making DCIAA come back alive.
So yeah, man, back on the social media piece, right? And you was talking about how like you be going on live, and then I think you pulled up at a funeral home or something like that.
Yeah, so we was playing Coolidge, and I think it was the day before the game, and you know I just always like to get some type of hype going into the game because I just wanted a lot of people at the game. It was going to be a good game, so I came up with, man, we are going to kill y'all. So I pulled up to a funeral home. I had the funeral home in the background. I was just like, Dirk, this is your place. I already talked to the guy. He said he got a lot of good caskets for y'all to fit everybody. So, you know, this is where I'm going to put y'all tonight. And, man, and going to the game, you know, it's just a whole bunch of people in the stand. Cardoza has never been packed out like that. So it's a whole bunch of people in the stands, all fun and all games, and this was all love. It was like, man, Coach Smut, we ain't dying tonight. We ain't dying tonight. And not only did I gain those type of friends, I gained followers I don't know, and it became a trending thing. Like everybody was waiting for me to do something, you know, the next trolling, you know, situation that I was going to do. But you know, at the end of the day, man, it was all love, and it was really to bring DCIAA back and just have fun, man. Everybody take life so serious, man. Have fun with it.
Yeah, so you gotta tell me where Coach Bay came from, man.
To be honest, I saw that on another coach's hashtag, and I just thought it was funny, and I'm confident, man. I feel like I'm handsome, so I just started saying Coach Bay in my hashtag. There's nothing too deep in that.
So did they did the ladies be pulling up to you like, hey, Coach Bay?
Nah, they don't do that. So I mean, some I'm jokingly do it, but they don't really, they don't really do that.
Yeah, so man saying we texted a little bit like last night or whatever, right? He was like, yeah, man, I'm saying we got Smut at 8 a.m. or whatever. He was like, yeah. He said they call me Coach Bay. I said,
Facts, man, facts.
But that's one another thing. So I know earlier you said, man, you was the head coach for 15 years, and then from being an assistant and that experience, like, you ready to get back to that head coaching position, man?
Absolutely.
That's something that's on your radar?
Absolutely. There's a couple of, things I got brewing. I ain't really want to, talk about it too much, but, it's my opportunity, man. I'm just coming off a DCIAA championship win, great record. My name is good in DC, DMV, really. I think I'm more than ready. When I was a coach back in Michigan, won 2 district championships. When I coached back in Kansas City, I was the most winningest coach at that high school at the time. I got a letter from Obama, just congratulating me on my win. So, I got the resume. It's just now I'm trying to get the opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And you an avid Commanders fan too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you told me I couldn't be a fan of the Commanders.
Yeah, man, you can't just because I'm a diehard Commanders fan. Like when we was losing and all of that, I ain't get on social media and be like, you know what? This team, Buffalo Bills winning. Y'all mind? Y'all let me be on y'all Twitter. Get on that time. Yeah. I don't know what the Cowboys doing, but yeah, Commanders, if y'all need somebody else, I'm willing to be a fan. No, man, stay over there, bro. We don't need no new friends like Drake. Stay over there, man.
And I was surprised by the nigga. He told me that. He said, yeah. I said, Commanders for real?
Listen, man.
Really from Dallas at that
one. I gotta understand. Listen, man. I can't be in this toxic, abusive relationship no more.
It's bad over there, man.
It's bad. I keep trying to tell you. Until Jay Jones transitions.
Take it how you want.
Right? We are going to be trash. And I don't like our quarterback. So it's like, how do you not want to root for JD5? You know what I'm saying?
I don't understand why you not doing that from the jump. You don't live in Dallas, bro. You live here.
But DC stands for Dallas Cowboys. You feel me?
I mean, I like JD5. You know what I'm saying? I want the young brother to continue to have success and keep doing good, but I'm a 49er.
Y'all are trash too. Yeah, this niggas is trash too.
We might have a failure. I'm still keep running with my mom.
You heard what he asked
about Debo.
I mean, I wish Debo would have stayed. You know what I'm saying? Because now
y'all even worse. Y'all just not a good team.
But Debo was hurt prone, man. He was always hurt for y'all.
Yeah.
So do you like him for y'all?
When he was ready though, you know what I'm saying? He a game changer. You know, we all know that. He a dog too. So, definitely hurt to see Debo go, but I'm still a Niner though, man. Gotta be
bad for y'all, man. That don't make no sense.
So man, what you think about NIL?
Man, I wish they had it when I was going to school. It's a beautiful thing, man. It's an amazing thing. I like those guys that's going out there and getting that money, man. They put their blood, sweat, and tears out there. They playing on national TV, and they practicing every day. Them guys deserve deals and money like that. Back in our day when I was playing high school and college, the NIL deal was, hey, let me give you a pair of these shoes, and we locked in. I remember Curtis Malone and Mike Brown used to pull up the Dunbar all the time and be like, you want a pair of Adidas. Don't go nowhere. This is the deal right here. Nowadays, you got colleges like, look, man, please don't leave. I give you $350,000, and you do this, you do that. You post on social media every day. That's another check. I like it though. I love it. It's crazy though. It's so much money in this. It's unreal.
Yeah, I definitely would have loved to have that when he came out. Oh my goodness.
Back then, you could have gave me $1,000. I would have been straight.
You know what? I seen you do an NIL deal a little bit. At the end of the game, you gave your kids $100 a pop.
It was two situations like that. The first time it wasn't on camera. I told these kids because at times, man, these kids come from nothing. Some of them single parent homes. Wearing the same clothes. So, a couple of dollars in their pocket to do them some justice. So when we played Coolidge, I said, we owe Coolidge, y'all. If we beat Coolidge, I'm giving everybody $50. End up beating Coolidge, and we, about to say, Cardozo on 3. They was like, $50. So, I passed out $50 to all the kids. So I said, look, man, this is it right here. I beat Jackson Reed, doubling that. $100 for everybody. We were so excited and so hype in the locker room, they forgot all about it. I never forgot. So we go in the huddle. We like, all right, get those on. And I was like, nah, hold up. Man, here we go. Everybody get $100. And I started passing out $100. But, I'm blessed enough to be in a financial situation where I can do that. And, that really wasn't, no shine on me saying, I'm a rich guy. I was doing that for any pub. And those kids deserve that, man. So anything that I could do to help them and give them anything to, enhance, their living situation or anything, man, I was more power to do that. So appreciate y'all, man. Thank you. Winning that championship, man.
Respect for that, man.
Yeah, so talk about some other stuff you got going on, man. I know I saw about the I think it's the 5
5A athletes.
5A athletes, and
Yeah.
the foundation that you have.
Shout out to my best friend Daniel Robinson, man. He's out of San Francisco.
That's right.
But when we was in college, man, kind of like y'all, man, we came up with a company called 5A Athletes. Basically, it's a mentoring kids program. He got like 12 teams out there. It's a mentoring program, but it's kind of like a traveling AAU type of situation. But it's just basically just an AAU team, but being more in depth with the kids. Teaching them life skills and things of that nature. I haven't really brought it to DC yet because it's just so AAU is so saturated right now. If I bring a 5A athletes up against a Team Durant or Washington Warriors, ain't nobody looking for that.
Right.
But it's a good program, 501c3, and I'm gonna start getting involved a little bit more with that when I get kind of my feet on the ground in DC.
Okay.
What type of principles you think? I mean, that you instilling in the kids? Some of the things you teaching them.
Most importantly, man, just being mentally tough. I just try to teach our young men that you can't be weak-minded. Nowadays everything ain't gonna go your way, and at some point you're going to be a father. You're going to be somebody older. You're going to be in my shoes, and you can't quit. You can't crash out. I always just try to teach life skills, and I think that's most important as being a coach. At the end of the day, it ain't really about wins and losses, in my opinion. It's about just teaching them how to be grown men. And if I've ever coached you, I'm your coach for life. It's a partnership for life. Because I want you to be able to come 30 years from now and say, "Yeah, coach, man, I'm married, I got kids." I had guys. I get those phone calls. One of my guys, Saute Ayers, he's in Kansas City. And another kid named Chiefy. Chiefy opened up a funeral home, and he called me. He was like, "Man, coach, this ain't got nothing to do with basketball, but if you wouldn't instill those life skills and being hard on me when I needed it, I couldn't make these deals. I couldn't go in this office and talk, and go to these in meetings and try to get this funeral home and things of that nature." So that's a win in itself for me. It ain't really about the X's and O's. It's about that lifetime commitment where guys get older and grown and can come and reach back and say, "Man, because of you, coach, I'm in this position that I am in today."
Man, that's beautiful.
Yeah, that's it.
That's beautiful. Oh, I got one more.
Okay.
Was there ever a time that you felt out of love with the game, coaching or playing?
No, not really. I've always loved the game. I probably when I joking around in practice, I tore my Achilles. I was just like, "Man, I ain't done." But nah, I've always loved the game. I never fell out of love of the game, coaching or playing.
Look at you.
I know, right? All right, man. So during the course of the conversation, we play this game called Either Or. Right. So we'll give you the option. You got to pick one. Can't pick one. You just pick both. Normally we have our.
You should do some push-ups.
Normally we have our ginger. You pick
Smut
both.
strong.
You have to put the ginger.
Smut strong. He could go do the push-ups on social media.
Yeah, I do push-ups.
Do push-ups? How many push-ups?
That's if I don't pick either or.
If you
pick both, then you gotta do the push-ups. How many push-ups we doing? 5, 10.
Stan, you called it.
You called it, Stan.
You said push-ups.
15. Every time you miss.
All right, so we got Dunbar, Cardoza.
Cardoza.
Playing or coaching?
Coaching.
Kyrie Irving, Steph Curry.
Steph Curry.
KD or Luka?
KD.
Francis or Lonnie Harrell?
Steve Francis.
Museum, We are one.
Come on, man. Museum.
We are one or madness.
I'm gonna go We Are One.
Anthony Edwards, SGA.
Yeah, I'm gonna do 15 on that one. Nah, man, you know what? SGA.
Man, I don't want to do no push-ups.
I had to think about that.
Shaq or Hakeem, the dream.
I'm gonna go Shaq.
Backyard, Red Essence.
Come on, man. Backyard.
Kobe, LeBron.
Kobe.
I guess we know this one then. LeBron, MJ.
Michael Jordan.
Damn, that man ain't want to do no push-ups.
That SGA messed me up though.
All right, man. So we down to the end, man. What we like to do is give you the mic. Obviously, you already got a mic, but give you the floor just to tell, give some advice to parents, players, inspiring coaches. Just advice of, what to do, what not to do. Some words of wisdom.
First thing I say, the parents, man, go to a program where you can trust the coach. Stay out the way. Stay out the way. If you gotta talk, because when you talk, the kid's natural instinct is to look up in the stands at you and follow your direction. Sit way up in the stands, and if you have any problems with the coaches, man, just give them a 24-hour grace period and then, respectfully go with your concerns. Other than that, man, it's just, man, it's been a pleasure. I appreciate you guys for, allowing me to be on this platform. You guys are doing an amazing thing. We're reaching out to different DC guys or just guys that of, a big, that have big names in the city. I'm a fan of you guys' podcast. This is amazing. It's a blessing that Stan invited me to do it because I was like, me, little old Smut, absolutely, I come on. But man, I just appreciate it, man, and shout out to all the coaches out there that's putting that time and effort and instilling good values into these kids because they need us, man, especially the young men. And we're not gonna forget Title IX. We ain't gonna forget about the girls. They need to. You can get in trouble in high school. You get all these boys, these great old uniforms, and you don't get the girls. Yeah, you get in trouble. A lot of people don't know that. But yeah, just shout out to all the coaches, man. Shout out to all the guys that that supported me. The whole Clifton Tourism Museum and all of that, man. I just really appreciate this opportunity to get up here and talk about basketball, my life, and coaching.
That's what's up, man. I definitely appreciate you too. Thank you for coming on.
For sure.
And make sure you guys subscribe, like, share, comment, and all that good old jazz, man.
And make sure you stay game related.